All right, sixth graders, if you haven't already opened the before notes image, be sure you do that and copy it down, because we're going to move on from here in our notes, and I don't want you scrambling to try and write these down, because this is it. These are our notes from today. If you haven't done the keywords that you should have done last Monday on the 1st, I would suggest going back to do that as well. It's going to help you with your translation, okay? But most of these are straight, direct translating. So the sum of a number and 3. So remember, the sum, it means we're adding. So we have a number, and we're going to add right where that and is. So we have a number and 3 is less than or equal to, so we're going to use our less than or equal to sign, 8. That doesn't seem so hard, does it? The product of a number and 5. Remember, we write multiplication with a number next to a letter, and we always put that number first, so we're actually going to put that 5 in front of the number. So instead of saying n5, we're going to say 5n, because we have 5 of those numbers. So the product of a number, we're not sure what it is, and 5, so that's what 5n is greater than, so we're going to use our greater than symbol, 20. 7 subtracted from a number. So we first have to have the number, and then we're going to subtract 7 from it, right? Is no less than. So it either has to be equal to or greater than. It can't be any less than 16. So it has to be greater than or equal to 16. Alright, I want to give you a minute to try this next one on your own. 10 is fewer than the quotient of a number and 4. 10 is fewer than the quotient of a number and 4. Remember, quotient means division. So we have a number divided by 4. And 10 is fewer than that. Okay, so let's think about it. 10 is fewer than. Would you say greater than or less than would be fewer than? Fewer means less, right? So I'm going to use my less than symbol. 10 is fewer than the quotient of a number and 4. Number and is where my division sign is going to go, and then 4. If it said the quotient of 4 and a number, I would have 4 divided by n, right? Okay. Now if you are writing this the other way, remember you have to keep your sign open to what it was open to before. So if you wanted n to be on the left, you would have to flip your sign if you flipped your things. Okay? 3/4 of a number. Remember, of means we're multiplying. So 3/4 times n. So how would we write that? We just write the number, right? And then the letter. That means multiplication. Is at least. So it could be equal to, but it can't be any less than. So it's got to be greater than or equal to. At least. So it's either equal to or more. Okay? Alright, you try this next one. A number increased by 8. So increased by 8. And then it translate is greater than 20. You can totally do that. Right? A number increased by 8 is greater than 20. Easy peasy. That one was nice. A number divided by 5, so we know how to do that. N divided by 5. Remember, we use fraction bars for division. has a minimum value of 9. So 9 is the lowest it could be, so it could be equal to it, right? So we know we're going to add part of an equal sign. But if it's the minimum value, it has to be greater than or equal to 9. Okay? Let's write this straight out. 15 is less than 4 subtracted from a number. So I got to work backwards. I have to put my number first so that I can subtract 4 from it, right? Does that make sense? Now remember, if I wanted to write with my variable first, you don't have to, but I would have to if I moved my, if I switch sides here. See how this is open to that? It has to remain open to that, so we have to switch our signs to of inequality, okay? This is also saying 15 is less than 4 subtracted from a number, right? All right. Hopefully that helps. Make sure you are completing today's teacher made. You're going to show your work, and then you're going to write your inequality, and then you're going to do the work. So you would say, I'm going to subtract 3 from this side. I'm going to subtract 3 from this side, right? And there are boxes in your teacher made for you to include what you're doing to each side. So this would be n is less than or equal to 8. That's what will go in your final answer. Okay? Then you're going to show divided by. So you'll use that slash symbol on your keyboard and divide by 5 because it is being multiplied by 5. I showed it right here. I meant to show you what you're going to use in your teacher made. Sorry. So if you divide both sides by 5, you have n is greater than, what's 20 divided by 5? 4. Alright, so to undo this, I would add 7. So you're going to write plus 7 in these boxes to show your work. And then I have n on the left is greater than or equal to 23, right? I just added. Does that make sense? Now here, there will be boxes on the sides, right? Because you're going to multiply both sides by what you were dividing by. So you would have n is greater than 40, or if you were doing it on this one, you would have 40 is less than n, which says the same thing, right? Now remember here you have to multiply by the reciprocal of the fraction, because dividing by the fraction is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So you will multiply by 4/3, right? Reciprocal means we're flipping the fraction. Now I know I can take 3 out of 75 25 times because I know 3/4 go into it, right? So now I have 25 times 4, and I know 4/4 are 100. So that's not so bad, even though it looked a little bit more tricky, huh? All right, a few more to do. I want you to give those a try. Make sure you are showing what you're doing in the teacher made, right? Multiply by 5. And then you would add 4 to both sides here. N is greater than 19. All right, and we talked about flipping our answer. So if you ended up with 19 is less than n, you know if you needed to write your variable first, you would just flip the sign and the numbers. All right, have a fantastic Wednesday.